Welcome to Living a Life by Design. It's the journey back to you and living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. Did you know your accountability and possibility is by design? God designed a phenomenal life for you, gave you the gift of choice. Esther helps empower you to discover and pursue the purpose that is already in you. Are you ready to look at yourself and see your future? Then get back to what is really important in life and get in alignment with your true self. Stay tuned to Living a Life by Design. Journey back to you and start living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. It all starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome to Living a Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham. I am so super excited that you made the decision and took the time to join me today. I have a powerful guest for you today that I'm so super excited. Y'all know my word is super excited, right? To share with you. We have known each other for years, but I think within the past, maybe 2 years or maybe 2 years, we've really gotten to know each other better. She is an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, let's just say. She is a phenomenal business person, a motivator. She is someone that empowers women. And I have to tell you, and just to watch her life transform from the inside out has just been so powerful. I thought I have got to share her with you. So introducing you to Dr. Amystique Church, who is our special guest today. We're going to be talking about the power of she, sisters helping to empower. I think this is a perfect topic because this is exactly who she is and she lives it out every day. So everyone joining me in welcoming Amystique, Dr. Amystique Church. Welcome to Living Your Life by Design, Living a Life by Design. Thank you for coming in. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing great in the world.
Thank you, Dr. Esther. I am excited. I always use that word too. So I'm excited to be on this call today. So thank you again for having me on your show. And so again, about she. This actually came to me about almost 2 years ago, just understanding that how it's so important for us to leave a legacy. It's not just about what we do, but what we do to help others. And no other than helping each other as women. You know, collectively, I always say that we have the power to really impact. Yes. And we can do that collectively. So some of the things that I'm doing, I have a podcast, She Table Talk, Sisters Helping to Empower. And I have guests come on each month in various service industries. So healthcare, government, even some personal enrichment. We do that monthly. And then coming out soon, I'm going to have a magazine. So in July, yay. So it's She Magazine. So again, Sisters Helping to Empower. That was something that was laid on my heart to produce. I have several writers that are going to be adding some articles. We're going to, of course, have fashion and beauty because not one woman doesn't like fashion or beauty, right? And I like
my knowledge. Yeah.
So, but, you know, just a way for us to continue to encourage each other, to motivate each other. I always want to talk about the 5 E's. For me, it's the 5 E's. And that's about engaging, empowering, enriching, equipping, and encouraging. That's what we should do as women. I believe that that's an assignment that we have. And that doesn't change based on seasons because, you know, your assignment or assignments can change based on the season. But that's an assignment that should never change of what we do to encourage and help one another. And so that's the way I look at it. And so for me, that's the power of she. And I volunteer weekly at the South Rock Community Outreach Center. So we go there and there's a food pantry, clothing pantry, but also I'm co-founder of the testing and administration and assessment there. So we provide those credentialing exams and other assessment tools along with Ricky D. Hardy and Betty Friend and many others that we do a service to the community, how we can impact each other to motivate them to, whether it's reskilling, upscaling, how can you get those services to change your life, So once you learn how to change your own life, I think it's, you're responsible. For me, you're responsible to help someone else. Yeah. And what does that look
Bring
like?
someone with you.
Yeah. And that looks different for everyone. So success is different for everyone, but I do believe that we're responsible to do that. And for me, she is not just some type of movement, but it's a revelation. It's a revolution, and it's a charge that we should have for each other. And
I love it. The power of she, sisters helping to empower. Because especially in today's environment where we're kind of pushed towards, let's just be for ourselves.
Yes.
To come back and say, no, we are better together.
Yes.
We are stronger together. Yes. And when we can be there helping to empower each other, then we are building up such a strong community. Let's talk a little bit about, and let me just tell my audience, listen, y'all, grab your cup of coffee today. I've got my tea, whatever your favorite beverage is, get comfortable, get your pencil, your pad. And so you can take notes, right? And listen, share this and replay this so it can get inside of you and you can begin to live out exactly what's being spoken of here. Amystique, let's talk a little bit about your 5 E's. Let's go through each one. What's the first one? Encouragement, is it?
Encourage.
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 What does that look like? What do you mean by that?
So to encourage, it just means being intentional, right? Being intentional to make sure that you speak whatever kindness, what maybe it's an inspirational word that you can speak to someone. It could just be, it can be a phrase. It can, we can call it a mantra, affirmation, whatever it is. But however you can encourage someone else, that's what it's about. So I always say that encourage. And then we have engage. Engaging us as women, that looks different, right? So it may be you're inviting me on, your network, and I've had you on my podcast, but what does that look like? So that engaging could be speaking, have others join in with you, speaking at your events, or writing in your magazine, whatever that looks like. Find ways to engage others. So it's not just about the mentorship, but sponsorship. Yes. How can I bring someone else along with me? And so that's why I say engage, and then empower. Empower is what it is. Once you learn your confidence and what lights your passion on fire, help someone else to feel that same empowerment, that confidence, that motivation to go to the next level, that transformation that needs to help within themselves. How can you help them? That's that empowerment, right? And so then we talk about equipped. What does that mean? Giving them the tools to do it, to make it. Don't just talk about it, but show them how to get the tools to be able to make it, to utilize that in their lives. What works for me may not work directly for someone else, but if you give them the tools, they can take those tools and make it something else. I can take biscuits and, just eat them by himself, but someone else will look at that biscuit and turn it in like, wow, I can create a full meal out of this. I add some meat to it, whatever you need to do, but give them that equipment to do it. So that's why I say equip, and then the last one, of course, is, to make sure that you encourage, enrich. So how do you enrich their lives? And that, again, that looks different from other ways, but I believe that it's important for us to do that. And enriching could mean that you help to fill a need for them. I'm a person of faith, so I believe that we're the hand and feet of Jesus, right? And so whatever that enrichment looks like for them, and again, you're responsible for that. I want to say this too, with Sisters Helping to Empower. I have 3 pillars that I always talk about when I go and share, and even in my book, Transformation Pathway to Purpose. Ladies, if y'all do not have my book, go buy my book.
Yes, go buy that book. It's powerful.
It's online everywhere.
Yes.
But Three pillars of she: strength. So that's everyday resilience of women in the face of adversity. As women, we go through a lot. We wear many different hats. You know, if you're like me, you wear many different weaves and wigs, right? You just want to look good, right? However that needs to go. But in the face of adversity, how do we handle that? And life be lifing, so things will come up. But that's why it's important to make sure that you show that strength. And it's essential that we show other women how we overcame, getting to the place where we're okay to tell our stories. And in our stories, there's a struggle, but be free enough and safe enough to be able to do that so they can have their own strength.
I think that's so, before you go to, I think that's so important, especially as you said earlier, we wear so many hats. You know, my father said that we're chief cook and bottle washer. We're doing everything. You name it, we're doing it. And so that first piece is just so important, you know, because we don't take the time out for ourselves. We don't, you know, we're doing everything. So good. So good.
True. And the next one is hope. So hope is about impacting, empowering all women. And so that doesn't just mean our generation, right? I'm a baby boomer. So it doesn't just mean our generation, but the generations that's coming behind us. You know, we have achieved a lot. So most of us are in a great space. But when we look back, you know, is there anyone that we can pick up along the way? So sometimes, you know, people say, just stay looking forward, looking forward. But no, I want to challenge us as women. Look to your left, look to your right, and look back. Who do you need to bring alongside of you? And who do you need to grab to go forward with them, you know, with them?
Let me ask you a question as you think about that, and you say, you know, let's look back and let's bring some people with us, which I 100% agree. We've got to, I think this is what we do. We bring people along with us. Have you ever thought about, and just share with us for a second before you go to the next pillar, what do you do when there's someone that you want to bring? You see that potential. You see where they can go. But as much as you're trying to bring them, they're not coming. Or they're like, I don't want to say moving slowly, because moving slowly is okay as long as you're moving forward. But you just can't bring. How do you handle that?
Yeah. And it can be frustrating, you know, but I believe in what I have learned is you got to speak to them where they are at that moment. And I would say this is for me too, because I'm a true introvert, right? I'm not a person, and you know, I'm not a social butterfly. I don't have it all together like that, and maybe a little bit of social anxiety.
I disagree that you don't have it all together.
Right. Okay, but you know, a little some social anxiety and all that. But what I have learned is that we have to have people where they're at. You have to kind of speak to and encourage them from where they're at. And when they can understand and they can start where they're at that moment, and they can start seeing their own power, their own strength, then they'll get to the hope, right? They'll get to the hope. And then that'll motivate them. And they're like, okay, I see what she's trying to do. I'm coming along now. Maybe slowly, not at the pace that we want to go at, that we may want to go at. I think you and I, we're capacity builders, right? So we can probably hold a lot, do a lot. And, you know, we've conquered this, but you know what? I got about 10 other things that I want to conquer. Now I've conquered that. Now I've got 10 more other things, right? So you and I, we're capacity people, right? And I believe that we're destiny builders too. You know,
containers.
Exactly. But not everyone is at that pocket, at that level. And so that's why you have to speak to them where they're at and help build that, to give them the strength. To motivate them to do that, and then give them and help them to instill some hope. Because when you can understand and you can see a light, then there you have that hope. You know, there's some things that I've accomplished in my life that I never thought I would do, you know, because I always use an excuse. Well, I'm too reserved for that. I can't do that. And then, you know, but the passion and the desire was there. And so I had to connect myself with others that I saw that were destiny builders, that were capacity people like me, maybe not the same personality. And one thing I had to learn, Amystique doesn't need to be like someone else. My personality is just okay.
And, and that's who people want. They don't want you to be, they just want a mystique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people who are called to you, connected to you, the people who need to see you, they want a mystique. They don't want a mystique showing up as Susie.
Yeah.
Or a mystique showing up as Mary. They want a mystique showing up as a mystique, and people are drawn to your authenticity.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? What I've learned is that's exhausting if you try to show up like someone else. Absolutely. Because you're outside of who you are and who you were designed to be. And that is not authentic. You know, that's not your true self when you try to do that. And it becomes exhausting for the person. So I truly believe that we can bring others along with us, even though they don't see their own strength and potential yet, but you discern and you see it for them.
Yeah.
But there's ways, just, help them along the path where they're at right now. And that goes to empowerment and equality. Equality is the last E. So giving everyone the right tool and opportunity, and to make sure it's fair across the board.
Yeah, that's our, we'll come back because I want to talk about the right opportunity, giving them, and making sure it's fair across the board. I'd like to talk about, how do you do that? How do you make sure something is fair across the board? So we're going to take a quick break, everyone, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Living Your Life by Design. I'm so happy that you have chosen to join us. If you are now coming in, listen, we've had some powerful conversation. Make sure that you download it and listen to the replay. Make sure you connect to the YouTube channel, and so you can hear this over and over again. And again, grab your favorite beverage and come on, let's have a conversation. Get your notepad and your pen. We are speaking about the power of she, sisters, helping to empower. I'm so excited to have Dr. Amystique Church. And we left off from the break speaking about fairness. One of the things in one of her pillars, she talked about equality, making sure everything is fair across the board. So how can we make sure, as you're empowering other women, you're bringing people along with you, right? Because no woman left behind.
Right.
No woman left behind.
No.
How now can we, with the power of she, how can we make, as we happen with the equality, making sure everybody gets what they get and it's all fair? How do you do that? And then let me just add this, because sometimes I believe fair sometimes is only fair to a person who gets exactly what they want. You think about corporate America or in school, when someone said, well, that's not fair. You say, well, how is that not fair? And then it's basically because they didn't receive what they felt they should have received. So how do we make things like what you're doing in the community, in your she, fair across the board?
So I'm glad you asked that. So thank you very much for that. The first thing we need to do, because a lot of times we think about equality, right? We do think, and both of us have been in corporate America, had executive positions. So when we think about that, we're thinking about at the workspace. But equality doesn't just mean the workspace. It's also the community. And oh my goodness, somebody's going to be mad at me for saying this, but it's also the church. It's also the church. So, it's about, making sure that whatever opportunities is offered to one, is offered to all. Now, here's the thing, and I want to add this part to it, because I think this is important. Getting rid of the silos and cliques.
Ooh, say that one more time. You got to say it again.
Okay. And let me say it a little louder. Getting rid of the silos and cliques.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where you will have your fit, that's where it will be fair for all women. Because again, we are connected. You said it, Dr. Esther, we are better and stronger together. I talk about that all the time on my podcast, but we're absolutely stronger, better together. And if we realize that, then we'll get rid of the silos, we'll get rid of the cliques. And what does that look like? That means when there's an opportunity to serve, you make that announcement offered. Don't just get the ones that act like you, look like you, have your same thinking, all of that. No, offer that across the board, make an announcement, put a flyer up, put it on the bulletin board at the community center, in church. Go ahead and make that announcement and see who will sign up for it, because that's being fair. Because if you only just have your 3 and 5 and no more, because these are the ones you like, what? I like to work with them. They get me, it's okay. Now you're going to still have your 3 and 5, right? Because, you work well with them, but you have made the opportunity open for everyone, all the women. And so someone can say, you know what? I have that ability. I have that strength, because if you don't, someone else is going to look back, and we all have done, and say, wait a minute, I could have really did that. I could have done a great job. I have the KSA's knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform in that area, but I wasn't given the opportunity, or even given the opportunity to say no. And here's the thing, and about fairness, because you've opened it up to give them the opportunity to say, raise my hand, I would like to participate. But then they will come. You need to realize and be honest with yourself. Do you have that ability? I am not an event person. So if you ask me to come on your team to do some event planning, decorating, and whatever, I like pretty things. I like nice things, but I'm not the one to do them. I know that about myself. So I will never sign up to be on the planning committee. I will never sign up to be on the decorating team or the event team. I will never do that. And so here's the thing. Those sisters in the She universe, on my podcast, I'd say the She universe, right?
I love it.
So those out there, you need to know what you're good at. You need to know your own knowledge, skills, and abilities, your own potential, right? And so be honest with that. Don't be one that wants to sign up for 4 and 5 different things because you want to be included. No, you don't have the capacity to do it. So once we get rid of the silos, and the cliques, and have it open for everyone, then that's when you're being fair. But when we are saying, raising our hand to be able to be a part of it, be honest with yourself and say, do I have the ability to perform that task? Am I skilled in performing that task? Do I really have a passion to fulfill that task? Then you're being true to yourself, but then you're being very productive to that particular, organization, that community, or even a church event, right?
In the Life by Design community, one of the pillars is growth. And when you're in a silo, or when you are in a clique, you have just limited your growth potential.
Yes.
Right. You have all of us started saying you need to hang out with people that's smart. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to change rooms.
Yes.
And I think many times when you're in a clique and then you've just limited yourself so much. You've limited your growth potential, and that is your growth potential financially, spiritually, physically, mentally, your mental wellness, your mindset. It limits you in every area of your life when you're in a clique. When you're in a silo, right? We were not created to live in silos.
Not at all.
God did not create man to be alone.
Not at all.
And
He
so
made sheep.
He made sheep.
Yes.
And the thing about it with that is the bottom line is what I've discovered that sometimes, I laugh when you say you're an introvert, because I was thinking it's been more than 2 years. It's been a few years, but that we've known each other. And I think within the past maybe 3 years, we really connected. But I have just honestly seen you go from really being an introvert to when is needed, you've showed up, you've stepped out. You've got up and you've given that talk. I've seen you do it. So I have literally witnessed the transformation of you. And I have to laugh with the introvert, because I told my kids when we were all doing an assessment of each other, and I said, believe it or not, Amystique, that I am an introvert. Keep your face straight, right? And as soon as I said it, I barely said it out of my mouth. My kids were like, no, you're not. You are not. You're lying, Mom.
Right.
Stop lying to yourself. But the thing about it with that is that I actually see myself as an introvert. Why? Because many times we show up because that's what we do, and we know that we're created to do that. But our choice would be, let me just stay quietly. Let me just go ahead and sit in the back. Sometimes when I come, I'll sit in the back.
Yes, you do.
Because it's like, let me just, because I don't always have to be out there. And so I love when you're saying, and you talk about the clique and the silos, I have to remind myself, get yourself out there, because that's what you were created. You were not created to do this. Show up for you so you can show up for others. Don't be in that group where everybody's like you.
No.
Well, I've never been in a group, honestly. I've never been parts of clique where everybody's, because I do like to grow, but putting yourself out there. And I think that's important, especially as women, having the confidence in yourself to where, you know what, I'm going to show up in this room, even if you feel that's a room that you may not belong in. Show up in it anyway, because maybe they need to meet you.
Yes. And that's how you grow. And that's how, for those that you're trying to bring with you, that's how you can show them the strength that they have. This is something that I learned a long time ago. I took a leadership class, and, when we were, in corporate America, they're always having these leadership classes, but I took one, and it was for women in leadership. And I was about to get a promotion. So I definitely wanted to show them, I'm interested in taking this class. So I took the class. And one thing that the ladies, I never forget, one of the speakers said, when you come into a room, don't look for someone that you know to sit with. Well, I've always been guilty of that. Okay, let me look for someone that I know, because again, I'm reserved. So I don't want to sit with a group, let me look. But once they said that, no, look for people that you don't know. And so ever since then, when I go to like a conference or a workshop, things like that, I will gravitate to I don't know anyone there. They may not even look like me. Nothing may be the same, but I will go and sit and introduce myself. And inside, I got the bubble guts and all of that because, my personality. But I am stepping out to say, you know what? Hello, I have the capacity for this. And I need to be here in order to get to the next level. So there's something that I need from you to complete my assignment. But I also have to believe, this is something we have to believe as women. There's also something within me that someone else needs to complete their assignment.
Yeah.
We have to believe.
That is it. We have to believe that someone needs me to help them complete their assignment. That's why, if you notice, you've come to my events, you've even come to retreat. I match people up with people they don't know.
Yes.
And I'll say, get with someone you don't know and I'll define what don't know means. Because I could come to you and I say, well, I don't really know Amystique like that.
Right.
So no, I want you to, somebody you've never seen before. This is your first. Why? Because you need them and they need you. And a conversation can bring us both together. And, we may leave this place and we may never see each other again. But something you said, that you and I talked, made a shift internally in me, made me think, oh, God, I can do this.
Yes.
And that is the power of growth. That's the power. It's like we were all created to live a life by design. We are built for this.
Yes.
Built for this. And so can we put ourselves out there, and can you get out there and can you meet someone you don't know? And what I love with what you are doing, Amystique, is that I just feel like the power of I think she fits into the Life by Design community. I think because it's empowering. I think that what you're doing is like changing some of the things, our mindsets, changing what we think, what we do, how we feel, who you're bringing along, like one step at a time. And you're out there, and I love the introvert piece, because someone look at you and you go out there and you're doing it despite. And see, this is it, y'all. Many times when we know that we're called to do something, we do it despite us being an introvert.
Yes. Yes.
despite us being, let's say, an extrovert or whatever, because we know that we are called to do this. And when we know that, then we can step out and we can do it. I want you to speak to that woman that's listening and saying, you know what? I know I'm called to do this, but there's a but after. This is a dream I have. I want to do this. I've got a passion for this, but I want you to speak to the but.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what's so important is to realize that it's about purpose. You understanding what your purpose is, right? And if for whatever reason you may not know just yet, but think about, what are you passionate about? I always say, what are your interests? What do you like to do? What are you passionate about? That's part of that will answer your but and help you get over being an introvert if you're like me. If you're reserved like me, if you have some social anxiety like me. And I share and say all of that because there are probably many that's like me, but it doesn't stop you. Here's something that so clearly that came to me when I was just working on a research topic. And as I was writing down, and I'm like, how can I be able to step out and do this? And so clearly, this is what I heard: purpose over preference.
Ooh,
Purpose
powerful.
over preference.
Yeah, love
My
it.
preference, Esther, and my husband will tell you, to be somewhere, read a book, and spend all day long by myself.
Mm-hmm.
My preference, not to go anywhere, go on a trip, find a chair, be there with my book all day long. But purpose says something else. And so my sisters are she's out there in the she universe. You have to understand purpose over preference.
Yeah, I love
It's
that.
not about how you feel. And a lot of times you're going to feel uncomfortable. But in the being uncomfortable, go with it. Go with it.
Go with it.
Go with it, because
Go
that
with it.
passion that lives inside of you, that is going to give you your strength. That is part of your resilience. And that's why you can continue on. And again, don't look at anyone else. And I had to learn this. Don't look at anyone else, because what you're supposed to do and the way you're supposed to do it is not like someone else. You may actually
to compare. Don't look to compare.
No competition and no comparison. I always say that. No competition and no comparison. Because here's the thing. You may be called to speak to someone, and I'm just going to make up something about how to make bread, right? But making bread your way may be a different way. You know what? Let me give you a better example. I was talking to some friends, they're from Nigeria, and some are from Panama, and then some are from, Puerto Rico. And so rice, everyone has rice in their dishes, right? In the Caribbean, they have rice. But they will tell you, and let me not exclude Africa for African sisters, they will tell you the way they make rice is the best way. Oh, you haven't had rice till you had Jamaican rice. You haven't had rice till you had, Spanish rice. You haven't had rice, until you had Dominican rice. Like they're naming, no, Nigerian rice is the best. But it's rice. But here's the thing, it's the difference, the ingredients. And that's who we are. We are made out of certain ingredients. So the ingredients that defines and makes Esther is not the same ingredients that defines and makes Amystique.
That's right.
And so I truly believe that's why it's so important that we understand who we are. And even in the process, if you don't fully get your purpose, keep just still walking it out, even when you're uncomfortable, even when you're unsure. Remember, purpose over preference. Purpose
I love that.
Preference.
Purpose over preference. So powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back to Living Your Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham. Oh, so let's continue our conversation with Dr. Amystique Church, who is a pillar in the community. So when she was speaking about what she's doing in the community, she is in Dover, Delaware, y'all, and she's doing a lot of great work there. Lots of great work. I want to, in the community as a whole, the church community, the regular community, every community she is in. And it is so powerful. And what I love about Amystique, and just so you would know, what she speaks, she practices.
Yes.
Right? What she speaks, she practices. So she's not here just sharing stuff. No, she is actually living this out. And so I want you to listen to what she's saying. Amystique, what is it that you can share with our viewers that can just help them to make some immediate changes, and then tell them, how can they connect with you?
Okay. My sisters out there in the She universe, this is something that I had to do for myself. Like, I actually walked this out, and it was about transformation from the inside out. And what did that look like for me? And I'm going to give you some steps and some tools. And I call it, and I write notes down for myself. So bear with me while I kind of go over my little notes. But I call it how we as women can magnify the power of she. Remember, sisters helping to empower. And so the first, we're going to lead with visibility. And what does that look like? And again, I love to serve in the community. And so I'm truly invested with various community organizations. One is SRCC, another one is ATP, Association of Test Publishers, and NCTA. So I'm very invested with those community organizations that are there to help others. And my hands are in the plow, in the trenches of doing that. So lead with visibility. Don't just talk about it, or don't even just think about it. Actually get out there. And it may be a small part, but lead with visibility. And that means actually going out there and doing that. And so you ask yourself, what can I do? And there's a quote by Marian Wright Edelman. You cannot be what you cannot see. So you have to see yourself, not where you're at this moment, but where you want to be and where you're going. And you know what? And where you believe that you're going to be and that you want to be. Because you have to start believing it first. But if you don't believe it, do it anyway. I like Joyce Meyer. She always says this: do it afraid. Do it afraid. Just do it afraid.
Lean into it. Yeah.
Lean into it.
Launch out into the deep. Yeah.
And what do? You be bold in your journey. All of us is on this life journey, and it looks different. And our assignments and seasons are different, but it's still a journey. So be bold in your journey. Be bold in your purpose. Be bold in what you're set to do. Share your story. Share your challenges. I know sharing your challenge, I had someone tell me at the community center on Tuesday, well, Amystique, that's very hard to do. No, you just got to share it. And I know it calls for us sometimes to be vulnerable, and that part, feels like it's hard to do as women, but someone else did it for you. And you have to be able to be open enough. Bishop Jakes used to say, what is it, naked and be not ashamed, or something like that. And so you just, sometimes you have to just get that way, right? And so your challenges, your story, your victories. I used to be one that did not want to share my victories. I didn't want to share my victories because I felt as though it did, the friends that I had, that I met at one stage in my life, that it would make them feel a certain way because I had to go a different direction and I couldn't bring them with me. Yeah. Because of some things that I accomplished, I was moving in a different arena. I didn't want to leave them behind, but I needed to encourage them where they were at, but I still had to keep going forward. Yeah. So even though you have to keep going forward, but don't be afraid to share your victories. Now I'm not. I tell people all the time, if they ask me a question about, things that I've accumulated, accomplished, I share it out. Because I know now that that's going to help someone else. If you know where I come from and I did it, you're able to do it. How does this help others? Because you're giving other women permission to show up fully as themselves. We're all different. Dr. Esther's different. I'm different. We all are different, but we all are uniquely made to be created for that purpose. But show up fully as yourself and be okay with it. It's not going to look like someone else. Create circles, not ladders. Create circles, not ladders. We rise by lifting others up. So how do we do that? We create, and we talked about this, we create spaces that's about collaborating. It's about mentorship, sponsorship, but it's not about comparison and competition. How do we help women to do this? And what does this mean? Emotionally, professionally, and socially, by us creating those circles and locking. When you lock in a circle, it's locked together.
Yes.
So you're creating that camaraderie to do that. But in a ladder, you got to keep climbing. And it's almost like you're doing it by yourself. You're not pulling anyone and you're not gripped with anyone together. So creating circles, not ladders. And then here's one, pass the mic. So if you're a person that you have made your $20 million and you're excited, but here's Stephanie in the background, and she's like, you know what? I truly believe that God's calling me to be a multimillionaire. Pass the mic. Show Stephanie the tools and the tricks in order to how you work to achieve that way. Pass the mic. So power grows when it is shared. It grows when it is shared. So what do we do? How do we do this? Again, Dr. Esther, we celebrate her because she does this, and I've seen her and she's does this. Share your platform with women whose voices are unheard. There are many people that are unheard and unseen. It's my responsibility to help the unseen and unheard. Yeah. I may be the only voice that can carry them in my circle of influence. We all have a sphere and circle of influence. It's not going to collide with anyone else. I truly believe that. It's not going to mess with anyone else's. When you are circled around your sphere and your influence pact. And then what does this do? It elevates marginalized voices and encourages diverse leadership.
Yes.
And so you got to think about that. And then again, I mentioned this earlier, sponsor, don't just mentor. So mentoring is about giving advice, but sponsorship is a little different. It's about actually helping the person along the way, being the hands and feet when they don't see it.
That's
so
right.
Invest in their business and buy their books. Go to the retreats. Okay, that's a plug. Life by Design retreat. Go to the retreats. Sponsor. Don't just mentor, right? That's so important. Recommend a workshop or a leadership role for someone else. If you can't make it to the retreat, or if you can't make it somewhere, buy a ticket for someone. I do that all the time.
Yes, you do.
I go somewhere, I buy tickets for other people. I hope to be able to go, but I make sure that I have invested in them. You know what? This is a good idea for you to be there. Try to do that. It's about investing. Empowerment is incomplete without resources. Here's the thing. Money is not a disease. Money is not, it's not something bad. Listen, ladies, we need money because it gives us resources. It helps us to invest in each other. So that's empowerment. Investing your resources and building up your resources and wealth. It'll help you get to the next level. If you don't know how to do that, ask someone else. Ask someone to say, you know what, let me be transparent. I don't know how to budget. Yeah. I need to do this, but I need help with this. Be able to do that. That's how we invest in other women, allowing them to be transparent and say that they're not at that level, but they want to be. Educate the next generation. I have daughters in their 30s and 40s, right? But it's also important for me as I invest in them that I teach them how to invest in other women, the ones that are in their 20s, the ones that are teens. We need to do that. We need to talk about what does that look like? Build up the confidence, share career opportunities, with them, build empowered women from the ground up. What is that? Some people say it's a cliche, but it is a saying. Empowered women empower women.
It's a true saying.
It's so true. It's
very
so
true.
true.
Yeah.
And so a way we do that is, what are our action steps? We find ways to, whether it's volunteering, It may not, for you, it may not be big sisters, but you may see a lady in church or at the community center. She has 6, 7 children. You know what? Go up to her and you say, hey, I would like to, be one-on-one with your teen daughter. She may be so happy because she may be a single mother, but she has 6 other children and she may not be able to invest the time that she needs in that one daughter, but you're able to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, and host workshops for other young people and women. And again, Dr. Esther, she does that all the time, but we need to make sure that we're doing that too. It's so important. And then again, kind of get rid of those things that are going to put us in silos and cliques. Get rid of those, because it's about bringing other women together and what we need to do. And my last thing that I want to say, encourage vision. Encourage vision.
Love that. Yeah.
Encourage vision.
Yeah.
So write your vision out, make it plain. I'm a person kind of old school. I keep a planner and I keep a journal, the hard copy. I have something in my phone, but I also write it down.
That's
so
me too.
Encourage the vision and write it down. Brain dump your thoughts each night. If you don't have time each night, each week, write it down. And so when you write it down, it can become a reality and it become a tool for you to get to the next level. And so here's the thing, the world we are creating with empowered women, man, do you know how great we are as women? What God did when he created us?
Yeah.
Wow. When you think about that, so we create a world with empowered women, then we get rid of all of the competition and the comparison and the silos and the cliques. When we understand that and tie it back to community. I'm very strong in the community. I believe in giving back to your community, but tie it back to your community, because what it does is it creates unity and legacy. It creates unity and legacy, which is so important. And so whatever you are doing, whatever you are meant to do is not just for yourself, but it's about helping someone else. Yeah. It's about helping someone else. And for me, I think that's the prize of life.
Yeah. Listen, y'all, this was powerful, that I'm sure you're going to have to listen to the replay just with the steps, but creating community, when we can bring empowered women, empower women, yes. When you can bring community together, it is phenomenal. There's nothing that we cannot do. We just have to know it's already in us. We don't even have to go get it. The things that we are created to do, we can do it. It is in us. It has been in us from the day that we were knitted in the wombs of our mothers. And so I love the action steps. I want to encourage you to really listen and to look at where you are right now and to begin to take those steps, right? We are, we're going to have Dr. Amystique's information and everything that she's doing in the group where you can see exactly how you can connect with her. I am so happy to have this conversation. And listen, Dr. Amystique rearranged her schedule so she could be here today. So I want you to know that what she's sharing is valuable and her time is valuable. So I appreciate it so much. And everyone, make sure that you connect with me. You can go to esthergraham.com. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Just look for Esther Graham. And you'll also find information on my next event, which is October 10th and 11th, right? And it's our live event, and the theme for it is Your Next is Now. Right? Your next is now. And so, because we got to realize that our next, we're always looking, we're waiting for my next and waiting for that next level. How about it's now? And so I'm excited to have you join us. More information will be coming on so you can see and hear all about it and make plans. It will be in Wilmington, Delaware at the DoubleTree. And of course, there's rooms there that's set aside. So if you're thinking that you want to come, go ahead. We'll post the link. We'll put everything on social media to where you can get a hold of it. Last words, Dr. Amystique, where can they reach you immediately? What's something simple you could share with them?
So I am on all the social media platforms at To Be Inspired. So that's the number 2, the letter B for beauty, and inspired spelled INSPYRD, all social media platforms.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, go to Dr. Amystique YouTube channel, go to mine. It's under Esther Graham. It's under Festa Della Donna. Look for it under Transformation Talk Radio. You will see me there. God bless you. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful, intentional rest of your week. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Living a Life by Design, the journey back to you, and living 365 days of purpose with host Esther Graham. Listen or watch live every second and fourth Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Discover that what is possible is already in you. God designed a phenomenal life for you. Esther helps you ignite that energy behind your personal journey for a deeper joy and peace, living 365 days of purpose. For more information on living a life by design, visit fddwomen.com.